St. Louis Blues versus Pittsburgh Penguins. Hockey fans, buckle up, because Monday night in Pittsburgh sets the stage for a compelling East versus West showdown as the St. Louis Blues skate into PPG Paints Arena to take on the surging Pittsburgh Penguins. It's a matchup featuring two teams heading in different directions early in the 2025-26 NHL season. The Blues, fighting to find their rhythm amid defensive struggles, and the Penguins, looking every bit like a Metro Division powerhouse chasing another strong start. At 3-4-1, St. Louis enters 7th in the Central Division, searching for stability. Pittsburgh, meanwhile, stands tall at 6-1, second in the Metro behind the high-flying New Jersey Devils, and eager to keep their momentum rolling in front of their home crowd. For the Blues, this game isn't just about earning 2 points, it's about rediscovering structure. Craig Berub's club has dropped 3 straight, surrendering 17 goals across that stretch, including a 6-4 loss to Detroit and a 7-4 defeat to Utah. The Penguins, on the other hand, just saw their 4-game win streak snapped in a 5-4 shootout loss to Columbus, but Mike Sullivan's group has been dominant over the last 2 weeks, outscoring opponents 19-9 in their previous 4 regulation wins. Tonight's storyline centers around whether St. Louis can weather Pittsburgh's relentless forecheck and rediscover its defensive identity, or if the Penguins' veteran firepower simply proves too much. Let's start in goal, where the matchup between Jordan Binnington and Arturs Silovs, or Tristan Jarry, shapes the complexion of this game. For St. Louis, Binnington has carried the Lions' share of the load, and though his numbers, 3.21, 3.12 goals against average, .872 save percentage, aren't sparkling, they've been serviceable behind a shaky blue line. Backup Joel Hofer has struggled to support him, posting a 6.23 goals against and sub .800 save percentage in limited work, meaning the Blues will lean heavily on Binnington again tonight. The veteran netminder will need to be at his sharpest, especially against a Penguins team averaging 3.56 goals per game, top 5 in the NHL through 9 contests. On the opposite end, Pittsburgh's goaltending tandem has been rock solid. Tristan Jarry, back in rhythm, owns a 3-1-1 record with a 2.52 GAA and a stellar .921 save percentage, while Arturs Silovs has filled in admirably with 3 wins of his own. Jarry is expected to get the nod, and his calm poise in the crease has been the difference maker in several tight finishes. If the Penguins maintain their defensive support and limit St. Louis's transition chances, Jarry could control the game's tempo from start to finish. Now let's talk scoring, because both sides bring firepower. For St. Louis, Jake Neighbors has emerged as the team's offensive catalyst. The 22-year-old winger leads the club with 7 points, 6 goals, 1 assist, showing flashes of a breakout year. He's been the spark plug on a top line missing the playmaking of Robert Thomas, who's day-to-day but could return tonight after a brief absence. Thomas remains the heartbeat of the Blues' attack with 5 assists, driving possession and setting up Neighbors on the rush. Still, the depth behind them has wavered. Injuries to Alexei Toropchenko and Milan Lucic have thinned the forward rotation, forcing St. Louis to lean on younger skaters like Zach Dean, who's still on injured reserve, and depth players for secondary scoring. Contrast that with Pittsburgh, where the stars are not just shining, they're sizzling. Evgeny Malkin has been electric out of the gate, pacing the Penguins with 14 points, 2 goals, 12 assists, while quarterbacking the power play. His chemistry with Sidney Crosby, who's already tallied 6 goals and 15 shots on goal, gives Pittsburgh a lethal 1-2 punch that few teams can match. Together, they've fueled a Penguins offense that ranks among the league's best on the man advantage, converting at 33.3%. Malkin's puck control and vision have opened up seams, while Crosby's precision finishing and net front presence have kept goalies guessing. When that duo gets rolling, it often spells trouble for any opponent, and tonight could be no different. Statistically, these teams tell 2 very different stories. St. Louis averages 3.00 goals per game, but gives up a staggering 4.13, ranking near the bottom in goals against. Their penalty kill sits at 72%, leaving plenty of room for improvement, and their power play has been inconsistent, converting just 25%. On the other side, Pittsburgh boasts a far more balanced profile, scoring at a 3.56 clip while allowing only 2.56 goals against. Their special teams are dialed in, with a 33.3% power play efficiency and a penalty kill close to 78%. When you pair those numbers with a steady defensive core led by veterans like Chris Letang and a rejuvenated blue line group, the Penguins have become one of the most complete teams in the early going. Recent form only amplifies the contrast. The Blues have stumbled through a rough 5-game stretch, going 2-3 and allowing 28 goals in that span. Their lone bright spot came in a 3-1 win over Dallas, but defensive lapses and inconsistent goaltending have kept them from stringing wins together. Pittsburgh, by comparison, has been a model of consistency. Before the shootout setback to Columbus, they had reeled off 4 straight wins, including dominant efforts over Vancouver, San Jose, and Los Angeles, where they outshot opponents by double digits in 3 of those games. This is a team playing fast, structured, and confident hockey, even with key injuries on the wing. Speaking of injuries, both teams have significant names on their reports. St. Louis could be missing several regulars again tonight. Robert Thomas is day-to-day but may return. Alexei Toropchenko remains out until later this week. Milan Lucic is sidelined until late November, and Zach Dean is on injured reserve through early November. That's a lot of offensive depth missing for a team already struggling to keep up on the scoreboard. Pittsburgh isn't entirely healthy either. Rickard Rakell is out until December with a long-term issue, while Caleb Jones, Tanner Howe, Rutger McGroarty, and Jack St. Ivany all remain unavailable. But the Penguins' depth has stepped up admirably, with secondary contributors filling the gaps and the top 6 carrying the offensive load. In the standings, the stakes are already beginning to take shape. The Blues sit tied with Minnesota at 7 points, both chasing the middle pack of the Central Division led by Utah and Colorado, each with 14 points. That's a wide gap to close, and for St. Louis, dropping another game could start to dig an early season hole. Pittsburgh, meanwhile, trails only the red-hot Devils in the Metropolitan Division. With 13 points and a 6-1 record, the Penguins are poised to solidify their place among the conference's elite with another home win tonight. It's still early, but divisional positioning matters, and the Penguins know how valuable every point becomes down the stretch. So what are the X factors tonight? For St. Louis, it starts in goal. Jordan Binnington has to steal one. The Blues' defensive structure has broken down too often, so their goaltender must play above the numbers. A 35-save performance might be the bare minimum against this Penguins offense. Offensively, the Blues need Neighbors to stay hot, and Thomas, if healthy, to control tempo in the neutral zone. The power play also has to deliver. A dry night with the man advantage will almost certainly spell another loss. For Pittsburgh, it's all about pace and puck management. If Malkin and Crosby dictate possession early, this game could tilt quickly. The Penguins' depth scoring, particularly from their bottom 6, could also play a key role, especially with Rakell and McGroarty out. And don't overlook Jerry. His ability to control rebounds and prevent second-chance chaos could stifle the Blues' net front presence. As for a prediction, based on current form, analytics, and roster health, it's hard to bet against Pittsburgh at home. The Penguins have outscored opponents 32-23 this season, while St. Louis has been outscored 33-24. Add in a Blues penalty kill hovering near 70% facing a power play clicking at 1 in 3, and the numbers paint a clear picture. Expect the Penguins to control possession, exploit St. Louis's defensive breakdowns, and ride another multi-point night from either Crosby or Malkin. St. Louis will battle, but the gap in special teams and defensive structure is likely too much to overcome. Final call. Penguins 4, Blues 2, with Pittsburgh's veterans continuing their early season surge and St. Louis heading home still searching for answers. Tonight's game may be just one of 82, but it offers a clear snapshot of where each franchise stands. The Penguins, organized, dangerous, and hunting for another playoff run. The Blues, talented, but still in search of identity and consistency. Pittsburgh's experience and chemistry give them a slight upper hand, especially when their top line finds rhythm early. For St. Louis, it's about discipline and puck management, two areas that have wavered in recent outings. If the Blues can rediscover their defensive backbone, they'll hang around and make it competitive deep into the third period. If not, the Penguins' veteran core could turn this into another statement win at home, reinforcing their status as one of the East's most poised, playoff-ready teams. And that's the setup for a Monday night in Pittsburgh. Two proud franchises, one ice surface, and plenty on the line. After analyzing both teams, my pick for this match is Pittsburgh Penguins winner. Drop your thoughts and predictions in the comments box. Boston Bruins versus Ottawa Senators. In the heart of Ottawa, two Atlantic Division rivals meet again as the Boston Bruins, 4-6-0, visit the Ottawa Senators, 4-4-1, at the Canadian Tire Centre. It's a pivotal early season test between teams searching for traction in a tightly packed division race. Boston enters just 1 point behind Ottawa in the standings, sitting 6th with 8 points, while the Senators, holding 9, aim to climb closer to the middle tier of the Atlantic behind leaders Montreal and Detroit. This matchup isn't just another divisional clash, it's a tone setter. Both clubs have endured uneven starts, trading flashes of dominance for stretches of inconsistency. Boston's blue-collar identity and structured forecheck face off against Ottawa's youthful energy and offensive creativity, making for an intriguing stylistic contrast. Between the pipes, it's shaping up to be a duel of familiarity and former connections. Boston is expected to start Jeremy Swayman, who owns a 3-3-0 record, a 2.85 goals against average, and a .910 save percentage through his first 6 appearances. Swayman has been a stabilizing force amid Boston's defensive lapses, often keeping his team competitive when the structure falters in transition. His rebound control has been sharp, and his ability to read plays off the rush will be vital against Ottawa's quick puck movement. On the opposite end, the Senators are likely to roll with Linus Ullmark, Boston's former netminder, who has gone 4-3-1 with a 3.11 goals against average and .870 save percentage. Ullmark's numbers have fluctuated, largely due to Ottawa's defensive volatility, but his recent starts have shown improvement, highlighted by better lateral movement and stronger positioning. He'll look to rebound against his old teammates, a storyline that adds an emotional edge to this matchup. Backup options also paint a clear picture of reliability versus uncertainty. Boston's Joonas Korpisalo has struggled with a 4.03 GAA and .845 SV%, making Swayman's role even more crucial. Meanwhile, Ottawa's young Leevi Meriläinen has had a rough go in limited action with a 7.23 GAA, showing that Ullmark must carry the load for now. In a matchup like this, where the margin of error will be slim, the steadier goaltender could very well determine the outcome. The Bruins' attack continues to orbit around the superstar presence of David Pastrnak, who leads the club with 13 points, 5 goals, 8 assists. Pasternak's scoring instincts and ability to create space on the power play remain elite. He's generating high-danger chances from the right circle with surgical precision. Complementing him is Morgan Geekie, who's been a pleasant surprise, pacing the team with 6 goals and showing improved shot volume with 19 shots on net. Boston's offensive success often hinges on whether its secondary lines can maintain pressure and win puck battles in the corners, areas that have occasionally been inconsistent through 10 games. Ottawa counters with the emerging presence of Shane Pinto, who has posted 9 points, 8 goals, 1 assist, and is finding his stride as a net front finisher. His chemistry with Claude Giroux, who leads the team with 8 assists, has anchored the Senators' top 6. Giroux's poise and playmaking vision continue to elevate the younger forwards, particularly on the power play, where Ottawa has been excellent at converting puck movement into quick-strike goals. Without Brady Tkachuk, sidelined until December, the Sens have relied on depth contributions from players like Josh Norris and Drake Batherson, both of whom have stepped up with responsible two-way play and timely goals. Recent form paints 2 distinct pictures. The Bruins, winners of just one of their last 5, have shown flashes of dominance but remain plagued by inconsistent defensive zone coverage. Their last 5 include a narrow 3-2 win over Colorado, followed by losses to Anaheim 7-5, Florida 4-3, Utah 3-2, and Colorado 4-1. Offensively, Boston is producing 3.20 goals per game, but defensive breakdowns have inflated their 3.50 goals against average. Their penalty kill remains a strong point at 87.2%, but too many trips to the box, 111 penalty minutes, most in the division, have tested that resilience. Meanwhile, the Senators are coming in hot, having won 3 of their last 5, including a 7-1 blowout win over Washington and a gritty 2-1 victory against Philadelphia. Their only real stumble came in a 3-2 overtime loss to Edmonton and a 5-4 defeat against the Islanders. Ottawa's 3.33 goals per game rank among the top half of the division, though they've struggled defensively with a 3.89 GAA. Their power play conversion rate of 28.1% has been lethal, but their penalty kill sits at just 64.5%, a glaring weakness against Boston's top-tier special teams. The Senators' home form, 2-2-1, contrasts with Boston's road woes, 1-3-0, adding another layer of intrigue. The Canadian Tire Center crowd often fuels Ottawa's aggressive forecheck, which could pressure Boston's defense early. In the Atlantic Division, every point counts, and both teams find themselves in the early stages of a tug-of-war for mid-tier positioning. Montreal leads the pack with 14 points, followed by Detroit, 12, and Florida, 10. Ottawa, Toronto, and Buffalo each sit at 9, while Boston lags just behind with 8. While it's far too early to panic, these are the kinds of divisional matchups that can decide playoff tiebreakers down the line. For Boston, the focus remains on stabilizing defensive play after a turbulent start. Their championship pedigree demands structure, and the next few weeks will reveal whether they can rediscover the balance between aggression and discipline. Ottawa, meanwhile, continues its push to prove last season's growth wasn't a fluke. The Senators' young core is maturing fast, and if they can tighten the neutral zone gaps and clean up their penalty kill, they have the offensive firepower to remain competitive deep into the spring. Both teams enter the night with key absences. The Bruins remain without defensemen Hampus Lindholm and Jordan Harris, both on injured reserve. Lindholm's puck-moving ability and first-pass efficiency are sorely missed, forcing Boston to rely more heavily on Charlie McAvoy and Brandon Carlo for top-pair minutes. Ottawa's loss is arguably more significant, as Captain Brady Tkachuk remains sidelined until mid-December with a lower body injury. His physical presence and net front dominance are irreplaceable, leaving a leadership and energy void. Depth-wise, Boston's fourth line has provided energy but little scoring, while Ottawa's bottom 6, driven by Parker Kelly and Ridley Gregg, has shown flashes of grit and forecheck pressure. Special teams depth could play a deciding role, particularly Boston's strong penalty kill against Ottawa's high-octane power play. The first X factor lies in net front presence. Without Tkachuk, Ottawa needs another body willing to take punishment in the crease. Look for Shane Pinto to continue that role, but secondary forwards like Batherson will need to screen Swayman effectively. Secondly, Boston's blue line composure will be tested. With Lindholm out, maintaining clean exits under Ottawa's forecheck pressure becomes critical. Any sloppy puck movement could quickly turn into transition goals. The Bruins will need tighter defensive rotations and strong communication between their pairings to avoid costly breakdowns, especially against Ottawa's aggressive forwards pressing for early momentum. Lastly, special teams could determine everything. Boston's penalty kill has been one of the league's best. Ottawa's power play has been elite. Whichever unit wins that battle may control the game's tempo and emotional swing. This one feels destined to be a tight, physical chess match between two teams that know each other well. Ottawa's offensive rhythm and home ice advantage give them an early edge, but Boston's discipline, experience, and superior penalty kill keep them squarely in the fight. Both sides bring a mix of youthful energy and veteran grit, setting the stage for a playoff-style intensity even this early in the season. Expect Swayman to outperform Ullmark in net, facing heavier traffic but turning in key saves late. The game could easily hinge on a single mistake or special teams swing, with momentum shifting quickly between zones. Ultimately, whichever team dictates tempo in the neutral zone and wins the battle along the boards will likely emerge victorious in what should be a fast, bruising, and tightly contested matchup. Projected scoreline: Boston Bruins 4, Ottawa Senators 3, OT. In the end, Boston's resilience and leadership core, anchored by Pasternak and McAvoy, should be enough to edge out a hungry Ottawa squad. But don't be surprised if the Senators' speed and energy make this one of the most entertaining early-season clashes in the Atlantic. Boston's defensive structure and late-game composure give them the upper hand, yet Ottawa's improving power play and youthful depth could turn this into a back-and-forth contest. Expect momentum swings, physical intensity, and a playoff-like pace that tests both benches early in the campaign. For the Bruins, maintaining puck control and limiting neutral zone turnovers will be critical to dictating tempo, while Ottawa's ability to capitalize on quick transitions could keep the game unpredictable deep into the third period. Goaltending, too, may prove decisive. Ullmark's consistency under pressure against Ottawa's dynamic shooters could define the outcome. Ultimately, this matchup isn't just about 2 points in the standings. It's a measuring stick for both teams' early season form and a potential preview of how their Atlantic Division rivalry could evolve as the year unfolds. After analyzing both teams, my pick for this match is Boston Bruins winner. Drop your thoughts and predictions in the comments box.